Last month, we concentrated on the economy proper and on reforms in the power sector and the progress that has been made. This month, we have decided to focus the briefing on agriculture, which is the mainstay of the majority of the Nigerian population. But before we go to this, I would like us to stand up for a minute silence in memory of two great sons of Africa, Dr. Nelson Mandela, the anti-apartheid leader of South Africa, and Professor Festus Iyai, the former president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, who will be laid to rest between today and tomorrow in Edo State. These two sons of Africa, particularly Mandela, rose to become a global icon because of his stance against apartheid and the sacrifice he made to bring an end to the evil regime of apartheid in South Africa. He was put in jail for 27 years. In those 27 years, he remained resolute in prosecuting the cause for freedom in South Africa. And he did this without bitterness. He was not bitter against the white or European people of South Africa. He was bitter against apartheid. And in all his struggles, he called for a unified South Africa, not a divided South Africa. And he forgave those who oppressed the black community and established a homogeneous regime in South Africa. We will be remembering him with 1 minute silence. As for Dr. Iyai, or Professor Iyai, he was an ASU leader in the 80s. And in addition to this, he's one of Nigeria's finest writers. He wrote 2 great books, Violence and Heroes, great novels. Heroes won the Commonwealth African Prize in 1988. Now these 2 books represent some of the finest writings in Africa. A scholar, a writer, an activist. Iyai died in an accident along the Lokoja Abuja road about 4 weeks ago. The proceedings for his funeral begin today in Benin and will be buried in his home state of Edo State tomorrow. So I believe we should have 2 minutes silence for these great sons of Africa before we proceed on our press conference.
Of what this administration is doing for the development of Nigeria. Take stock of his policies, take stock of his promise, take stock of the work he is doing out there in the field for the development of our country. Let me begin by saying that never since the origin did we have a government that came to power with a clear cut blueprint of what it will do for the development of the country. This blueprint, Mr. President, is encapsulated in the transformation agenda. The transformation agenda in the last 3 years has been going on steadily. One thing the President did on assumption of office was to ensure that he brought together the best brains to find anywhere in this country to help him run the administration. So leaders are defined by the quality of those they bring forward to work with them. And if you take a look at not just the ministerial team, but even more so the economic management team. If you take a look at that team, which he carefully selected from the academia, from captains of industry, technocrats, administrators.
This man, the block.
If you take a look at the economic management team, you will see that that team is composed of some of the best minds in this country and in this continent. The president brought them together to give effect to his transformation agenda. It is one thing to dream up an idea and a vision for a nation. It is quite another to bring a team that will help you realize that agenda. So, like Kennedy in the 60s in the United States, the president believes that the value of human capital that you bring to run a government will determine the outcomes. I can't forget the book by David Habersan about the Kennedy's presidency. We call it the best and the brightest. I read that book in the 1990s. Where Kennedy assembled a team of people to help the United States in the Cold War to move to greater heights, to vision a new country of greatness. Today, the president has also assembled the economic management team to help him run Nigeria. We are not working on the same parameters, but definitely, if you take a look at what has happened in the last 3 years, you have had a lot of, idea-driven government based on the assembly of great minds to run the country. Now, the economic management team that meets every month with the president to discuss progress, to look at what is happening in the field, to see what new policies we need to introduce, how do you shape the policies, what is working, what is not working. That economic management team, which the president chairs personally, is indeed doing a lot of work for this country, as we will see in agriculture. The second thing is the economic management implementation team. So the economic management team discusses the broad spectrum of ideas and policies and how those policies are being implemented. The economic management implementation team is made up of a smaller group of persons, of scholars, academics, administrators, including ministers, that then implement what has been discussed by the economic management team. And this one means under the leadership of the coordinating minister of the economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The implementation team also meets monthly to discuss implementation in the field of the policies and programs of this government. Now, these two things provide a background for the work of the Federal Executive Council. So therefore, ministers who are the implementers in their own sectors of what has been decided by the economic management team as well as the implementation team, then give effect to these policies in the field. This is what we have been doing in the last 3 years, and this is really unique because, as you know, what the president is trying to do really is to give the nation a basis, for development, for harnessing the ideas of the best talents in the country to put to effect in implementing its policies for national development. I can tell you that as a result of this consistent policy of the president working quietly behind the scenes to ensure transformation in various sectors, we are beginning to see today a new Nigeria that is making news in terms of economic progress. Now, let me begin to last month when we were here, we saw the new indices in the economy. We saw that our economy was growing faster, which is good, average 7%, which is the highest growth in Africa today, consistently for the last 2 years. We also saw that international rating agencies are already giving us BBB minus which is needed at the time that other countries like South Africa, Brazil are being integrated. The confidence of the global players in the Nigerian economy is increasing with the verification and the ratings of international rating agencies. And we saw this last month, and when we went to London, which is again another platform that was created, the Honorary International Investment Council, which was actually established by President Obasanjo when he was in power, and the president brought it forward and continued with it, which tells you we're also dealing with the question of continuity, abandoning people that they have to know. So the Honorary Investment Council that met in London about 2 weeks ago, again took a look at the Nigerian economy, and the Honorary Investment Council is made up of global players in the economy. It is chaired by Lady Linda Joker. Linda Joker chairs it. She's a baroness in the British royal system. Now she chairs the council, and it is made up of some of the world's best economic leaders, corporate leaders. We brought them together, Shell, Total, all of them. They come together, their chief executives come together to again discuss the progress in Nigeria and give us a neutral view. Maybe if the economic management team and the implementation team and the Federal Executive Council are too close to the president, the Honorary Investment Council is able to then analyze what we're doing and advise and tell us areas of progress where they think we are comparing well, where they think we utilize our ideas want to achieve greater results. So the Honorary Investment Council that met in England 2 weeks ago again confirmed the progress Nigeria is making. They confirmed the progress in terms of the various reforms of the president. And then we are not even looking at the achievement of the president in terms of just the practical things that have been done. But the president has achieved even more in terms of the reforms that have brought on board, which will ensure steady growth in the various sectors of the economy. So when they look at those reforms, they came to stand to the fact that today Nigeria has the best policy ideas running in this country. That is the agreement. And I can tell you, they took a look at our policy in terms of the reforms in agriculture, the reforms in power, the reforms in terms of the investment opportunities and policies we are putting on ground, the new policy on manufacture of vehicles, the new policies we are putting ground in the key sectors, and they came up the new policies on ICT to grow the global industry in Nigeria. When the Honorary International Investment Council discussed this, they confirmed that so far Nigeria has shown consistency in the last 3 years in terms of policy reforms and implementation. So they also look at the areas of results, and we'll come to that maybe later. I don't want to take attention completely from agriculture. But one clear thing that happened, as we saw, was that they look at the power reform and they say no nation has undertaken such a comprehensive reform transparently with investment confidence from around the world like we did in the power sector. Now, the results will begin to show as we move forward as the private sector players take over the power system in Nigeria. Already, all those companies have been handed over to them, and government indeed provided additional support for these companies to make sure that they take off well and that they grow power beyond the feed and start policies of the past. So these reforms are going on. Today we want to look at agriculture. Agriculture, because as we know, close to 60 to 70 million Nigerians live every day through agriculture. That is what they do for a living. Peasant farmers spread across the country, commercial farmers, people engage in trade of agricultural products, people engage in processing. Altogether, you have close to 60 to 70 million Nigerians engaged in agriculture or agriculture-related businesses in Nigeria. And because agriculture really not oil, agriculture is really the mainstay of Nigeria because most people live because of agriculture. Oil is very narrow. Yes, it provides a lot of revenue that is running Nigeria for a while. But in actual fact, majority of our people are living on agriculture. And for this reason, we can't take agriculture for granted. You remember that in the 60s, Nigeria was all there in agriculture. Oil has not been discovered. And the three regions of Nigeria were competing with each other in agriculture. If you look at what Sadona was doing in the north, particularly in growing commercial crops, the Grano pyramids, which collapsed in the 70s. Kano was not the Grano pyramids. You look at them like the pyramids which provided commercial value for the north. And because of agriculture, the north was able to raise the revenue to begin to start manufacturing. If you look at the chain of textiles that the Sadona government started, if you look at the manufacturing, there was a juice sack factory in Jos to provide juice sacks to farmers across the north. Then there was a Savannah Sugar Company all the way to Zuma. There is virtually no place in the north that the Sadona was doing something, for the development of agriculture and the growth of the north. And all the factories that they established, the companies, NNDC, the Hamdala Hotel in Kaduna, the New Nigeria, Ahmadu Bello University, provincial secondary schools, these were run mainly through income from agriculture. The same was happening the way the Boko has recently stand as the pillar in Ibadan today, was built from income that was generated from cocoa and other agricultural products. So if you went to the southeast, you had the same thing in terms of oil palm production, rubber. These are the products that kept Nigeria going on the southern discover oil and promote agriculture. Today, oil is not giving us enough revenue for development. You can't today develop Nigeria based on oil income. And I can keep telling Nigerians why China gets from ceramic products is far more than what we generate from oil. So we need therefore to expand the economy, and that is the reason why the president has embarked on the transformation agenda. Now, in the 60s, what happened was that there was a comprehensive program by the nations. In the north here, this program included marketing boards that would buy directly from farmers. So the northern government sets up the targets that they want in cotton, that they want in sesame seed, that they want in granules. Once the targets are set, now business through extension officers and the marketing boards develop the various products, and most of the time we get in excess of what we wanted. It was government policy that produced the agricultural wonders of the post-republic. Now since that time, our agricultural policies have been fit and started. It has never been something that will move on from there. The collapse of the marketing boards in the 90s completely brought agriculture to its knees. And that's the problem we're having today. So what the president has done is to take a look at the entire agricultural value chain and bring up a new program with the help of our son, Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, one of the best minds in agriculture around the world, not just in Nigeria. Now, since the assumption of Dr. Adesina in the Ministry of Agriculture, working with his team in the ministry, he has come up with the Agricultural Transformation Agenda, ATA. Now, this agenda took a look at what Nigeria has done since the 1950s and 1960s today, and answered the question, why is it that we didn't make consistent progress? Why didn't we grow like Malaysia? Why did our agriculture, not go on a consistent line to increase productivity and employment and wealth generation? After putting together all the questions, Dr. Adesina and his team came up with this program. We tried to answer the fundamental questions of Nigeria's agriculture. And those questions, like they have rightly has been that for quite a while, when agriculture was neglected, the policies since after the Second Republic, were not consistent. Then the change in policy emphasizes agriculture as government driven. We will just be supplying fertilizer and tractors, no follow up. The marketing costs were down. The marketing, the processing, no attention was given. No consistent attention was given. So the new agricultural program under the transformation agenda therefore says for us to succeed in agriculture, we must learn from the best practices that are going on in comparative countries like Brazil, like Malaysia, and all in the United States, which is also a great agricultural power. In Canada, in all the countries that have become the powerhouse of agriculture, we must learn from them. And we have brought down these ideas, also married them with our own local conditions, our own local situation. And so what the agricultural transformation agenda has done therefore is to transit agriculture from being just, a government development program without adequate attention into a business that will leave nobody behind. And then to develop a policy that takes across the entire agricultural chain from cropping, to harvesting, to storage, to processing and marketing. So we have developed a program that takes into account all these chains to make sure that for you to succeed in agriculture, you should worry about the cropping. What is the land situation? What is the soil situation? What is the type of fertilizer you are going to supply to farmers? What are the seeds? What is your policy on seeds, for example? One of the greatest problems of high agriculture is that our parents on the farm are still using pristine seeds that evolve from nature and can only grow to a certain extent. Whereas agriculture globally has moved on. You now have new hybrid seeds, that are developed through research to increase productivity. If you go around, you see the rice you were planting before. You plant large acres of land, suffer on it, for months, and the yield is small, not because the land is bad. And what the seed is there, you are using is of manje. Then, so when you plant of manje seed, it will produce of manje, can't give you the kind of, results that you require. So today, what Dr. Additional and his team have done is to look at all those problems so that we don't leave anything on top because the chain. If you leave one chain, the other chains cannot go collapse. One of the chains is broken, then the whole thing will collapse. So what he has done is to look at that. The cropping, we have looked at the land and the soil and has decided to even zone the country. Which part of the country will produce best food based on its climate, based on its rainfall, based on the soil type. So all this has been done, and the country has been zoned, to produce specific crops, commercial crops, food crops for Nigeria. And this was done scientifically, not just by oracular deductions. Now, having done this, they have addressed the question of seeds, they have addressed the question of cropping, they have addressed the question of fertilizer supply to farmers, all in this policy. In addition to this, if you promote farming, it can never grow unless you have a commercial system, storage system, because most of the time when farmers farm, even those buying from them have no way to store the crops. So, additional attend to storage. What has he done? As you see in the presentation, they have dealt with storage and has built silos all over the country. Virtually every state, every zone you go now, there are new silos that have been completed, which will take grains and store. Because without discussing the question of storage, you can't promote agriculture. So farmers will find the need that they can use before their crops go by. So storage is being tackled. But storage alone, without a proper marketing system, will not work. So for us to move and encourage the farmer to continue to farm, we must address the question of storage, we must address the question of marketing, we must address the question of processing. So what he has also done is to develop a food processing chain in Nigeria for rice, for cassava, for cocoa, for oil palm, and other crops. for sugar. Now, additional has also developed this, not only developed them with bankable proposals to investors, domestic and foreign, to come in and put in their money. So, this is the first time that since the First Republic that we are addressing the question of agriculture in all their basic details according to the general agriculture. So we are addressing the question therefore of marketing, of processing, and storage. Those are very, very crucial if you want to grow agriculture. If you don't address this, you cannot have a result. Additional suggestion. So what I'm going to give you here is a progress report based on a policy that has been acclaimed by the world. Why do I say acclaimed by the world? We have presented this problem at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and the global community applauded this policy on agriculture in Nigeria and recommended it for all the developing countries that want to grow their agriculture, move away from what the situation was in the past to increase productivity. Now, in addition to being accepted in Davos, as we will see, immediately that presentation took place and people have seen consistent policies. Investors are now coming to Nigeria, not just to trade in oil and gas, but in agriculture. Some of the best companies in the world are now heading to Nigeria to invest in agriculture. This is very significant for our country. This is something new, something we didn't see in the past. It is happening, and I'm going to give you the details as I'm going to give you an overview, of what is going on in agriculture. So investment is coming into rice, into cocoa, production, into cassava, and into several crops, into vegetable processing, tomato processing. Investors are not settling down because they have seen an agricultural policy that is backed up with policy support, with concrete support. In addition to this, addition has addressed the question of capital for agriculture. Because if we do not address the question of lending to agriculture, agriculture will remain the whole and frontline business. That policy is being addressed under the agricultural transformation agenda. Together with the central bank, they brought the agriculture risk incentive policy, lending policy, which is already on ground. And it is absorbing the shock from commercial banks so that they can lend at lower interest rate to agricultural businesses. That is already being done, and you will see that a lot more money is going on to agriculture than it ever used to be in the past, from even commercial banks. This is what is going on. Then, in addition to this, additional has addressed the question of marketing. It's looking at the gap at the domestic market for our food. We are the next importer of food. Next importer of rice. So these are the things that are done. In addition to domestic market gaps, which he is trying to fill, he has also gone out to look for market outside Nigeria for our agricultural products. So, in other words, our new policy aims at supporting the farmer on the farm for profit with all the associated inputs he requires, and it was also aimed at creating storage and marketing for the farmer domestically, and it is aimed at processing this food to high value in so that we will not be sending raw food abroad. The real income comes in value addition, and that is why the peasant farmers remain poor, because the people who want to make money and give them further for what they are putting into agriculture, the marketing, the process, value addition. That is where nations earn money. They earn money by adding value to what they produce. You sell yam raw, somebody will go and process it into yam powder and earn 10 times, 20 times what the tuber of that yam costs. Now, if we process in Nigeria, therefore, the economy will earn more. More jobs are created through processing. For the factories will be growing. The marketing of those products will increase our capacity. Farmers will produce more because factories are placing orders for agricultural products to come. Rice mills will be placing orders. Cassava mills will be placing orders. Cocoa mills will be placing orders. That's how agriculture produce. The farmer will now work year round because the market is open, demand for his products are on, income are increasing, family living standards improve. That is how agriculture should go. And additional believes agriculture must lead industrialization. Because all over the world, that's what happens in Britain everywhere. Agriculture needs industrialization. So because people must first eat, people must first eat, they must first wear clothes. That's why in England, agriculture started from the textiles. That's how it is all over the world. So if you are able to set up a lot of factories around the country to process the things we produce, then the industrial revolution proper, which is also what our people ground, take off. And everything was being therefore is integrated. So what I'm going to report to you today, therefore, is clearly one of Nigeria's best moments in agriculture. We're in one of Nigeria's best moments in agriculture. And to begin with, I can tell you that the story of agriculture is also beginning to make use even beyond world policy centers, such as World Economic Forum. This year, for example, because of the new ideas that have come under our agricultural transformation agenda, the Minister of Agriculture has already known, Dr. Adeomi Adesina has been declared Forbes Magazine's African of the Year. African of the Year, Forbes Magazine, world foremost magazine that deals with, people in the corporate world. They have chosen Adesina today, this year, as African of the Year because of the new ideas that are now taking root in promoting agricultural development in Nigeria. That's why I keep telling you, all the noise that people are making, Nigerians should increase their patience and they will see exactly what this president is aiming at for this country. And I can say, therefore, confidently that our agricultural policy, which indeed is comprehensive, is detailed, is deliberate, leaving nothing undone, no stone unturned, has become not only the life of Africa in terms of the ideas that are coming out of this nation, but also in terms of results. We're beginning to see that there are results coming on. You remember from months back, the Food and Agriculture, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization gave Nigeria an award for reducing hunger, for reducing absolute hunger in line with the Millennium Development Goals. We had an award because there is more food produced in Nigeria under this period, and hunger has reduced. This is a world agricultural, United Nations Agricultural Food and Agricultural Organization. They gave the president an award, they gave Nigeria an award for the achievement in agriculture in the last 3 years in terms of the reduction of hunger. But what exactly has happened in agriculture? I can tell you that starting with cropping, goes for dealing with the agricultural chain. I can tell you very clearly that within this period, the agricultural transformation agenda, we have added 9 million metric tons of food in the first year within Nigeria. You can get that from cassava, you can get that from rice, you can get that from sorghum because we're developing using this and they are producing far better than before. Now also, in the last year, in terms of cropping, what we have done is to develop new seeds for farmers. Those new seeds, sorghum, cocoa, rice, are being given free to farmers all over the world. Free seeds. They are not sold. They are supplied directly from seed companies paid by government and they are going directly to farmers. To make sure that the question of low seeds, low yield seeds, which has been the bane of low productivity, one of the reasons for low productivity is completely overcome. So we have developed using some of them producing 7-8 times what they used to produce. This is in cocoa, in rice, sorghum. All these new seeds are including oil palm. We have developed those seeds and we're distributing them, freely to farmers across all parts of the country. And we believe that these new seeds, which are already increasing the output of food production, will help farmers to have more yields from per hectare, of their own effort and investment. And this is truly very good. The second of the things that have happened is that today we have addressed the question of the cumulative supply of fertilizers. And this has been done by developing a database which has grown from 4.2 million farmers to 10 million. The database is kept by the Ministry of Agriculture under what we call the electronic wallet system. This enables suppliers to connect directly with farmers in the villages and around the country. Now, this electronic-based wallet system has enabled agricultural input suppliers to give seeds, to give fertilizer directly to farmers. And in doing so, the new agricultural policy has originated government contracts in fertilizer supply. If you remember, the huge scams that we have seen in this country in previous years, every year of the fertilizer supply scam. You remember? It was like the cement scams, the 70s. So there was no year that we had controversial fertilizer contracts. This is now gone. The government is no longer awarding any contract for supply of one bag of fertilizer to anybody. What the government is doing now is look, who are the major players in the fertilizer market? We connect you directly to farmers and give you subsidy at the point of the bank, so that the fertilizer you supply, we know the cost. We say, okay, for this farmer that are registered with government, this is how much of the portion we will pay. So the fertilizer is therefore giving to them at fixed prices. So our subsidy goes directly to the farmer, rather than middlemen who will take that subsidy and then go back, hide the fertilizer and bring it into the open market and sell it 3 times what government and give it to them. All that is gone now. Many middlemen is hanging everywhere now to benefit from the blood of peasants and farmers. It is been cancelled. You have to go elsewhere. And this, in addition, has wiped away the huge corruption in the system. First of all, there is corruption at the point of award of the fertilizer contract itself. And the quality of the fertilizer will often see sand mixed with some fertilizers. All that is gone now. Nobody is talking about fertilizer contracts anymore. And what we want to do with this policy is to make sure that fertilizers are available all year round. One of fertilizer is sold before you see fertilizer launching season. Then there's an annual season for fertilizer. Usually the season starts in July, whereas rainfall begins April. Government will float fertilizer sales with a huge ceremony in July or August. And by that time, already 4 yield is guaranteed, because you start putting the fertilizers at the point of tilling the soil, not when crops are already grown. So now the policy is going to ensure that from December to January, fertilizer is available. So if you want to do vegetable cropping during the dry season or dry season rice farming, you don't have to wait until July before fertilizer to come. It is available now from December to December. Fertilizer is available to farmers. You can go to the farmers and get it. This is what we're doing, and this is helping the normal area to shout up and down. So we want to correct this, and it should be corrected. Now, in addition to this, I can tell you that there is huge investments coming into fertilizer. Huge investments coming into fertilizer production in Nigeria. Indorama, which is former ASCO, has just invested $1.2 billion more to expand the plant and produce fertilizers. Nogari fertilizer plant in Portugal has also invested close to 400 billion to increase fertilizer supply. So everywhere, Dangote has just announced the investment of $3.5 billion to build the largest urea fertilizer plant in Africa. Why is this going on? Because government policy has changed. Because government policy is now different. They now see hope. They see consistency. Government is the one that was handcuffing agriculture because of our own policy inconsistency, and also the government of policy was there. There are no fresh ideas. Today you can see these huge investments are coming because investors have confidence in this economy. So these investments will not only ensure that Nigeria produces enough, but even now, Nigeria is exporting fertilizer to several countries from Port Harcourt because they produce 24 hours. 24 hours, the factory is booming 24 hours. Sending to the everywhere. They are producing 24 hours, sending to the domestic. So what we hope in the year vacation that in the next few years, Nigeria will not only export cement, which we are doing now, but we will also now be exporting fertilizer in the rest of Africa and even to other countries outside this continent. Definitely we are reaching there now with the new policies of put on ground and the investments that are coming into agriculture. So we are very happy about this, and we believe that a lot of this development will help us. Now we believe also that for us to succeed, apart from the fertilizer companies, the seed companies are also not developing. There are about 8 seed companies that have taken root in Nigeria. Companies will be producing fertilizers, and other companies are producing seeds, are only interested in producing seeds and marketing seeds to farmers. So again, in addition to fertilizer, the seeds will also be reaching farmers directly from companies whose main business is to produce seeds and sell them to farmers. That is really going on. In the last 2 years, seeds are going directly to farmers. What government is doing is to give support those seed companies to distribute these seeds to farmers directly. So the idea that seeds have not come will no longer be there. Those seeds are permanently in the market and will be going to farmers regularly and improve their productivity. So this again is something that we have not seen in recent years. Now, after injected 501 billion naira into the economy due to this activity in the value chains, 591 billion in the value chains, cassava, rice, dry season, and sorghum, maize, and cotton. We have injected 591 billion into these chains in terms of support farmers, in terms of credit, in terms of investment in new seeds which are being distributed around the country. The agricultural transformation agenda also has increased Nigerian farmers' net income by 171 billion naira due to the activities in the high value chains of cassava, rice, dry season and rainy season rice production, sorghum, maize, and cotton. So farmers have earned 4 billion more in terms of income because yields have increased, market has increased, mills are buying from them, and have increased in production and income by farmers around the country. Now, we have also planned investment in cassava, dairy product, livestock, maize, mango, orange, palm oil, pineapple, rice, rubber, sesame seed, and wheat. For the first time, we are producing wheat at the Niger Basin. We have developed a new variety of wheat which is doing very well around the Niger Basin, and it's also being tried in Sokoto, in Kebbi, in Zamfara. So Nigeria, with time, will become a wheat producing country. It used to be said that wheat cannot grow here. In the Babangida year around 1991, we started the project. Unfortunately, there wasn't consistency subsequently. So Nigeria is insisting that this wheat is also a tropical crop. It can be domesticated. And we're doing so now. And the test runs that we're seeing in the northwest and the northeast of the country shows clearly that we can produce wheat. And if we produce enough wheat, which we believe we will, then definitely the next importation of food into the country will definitely reduce. And then the money we use to import to go to support our farmers to produce and create jobs for our people. An important country is exporter of jobs. That's the difference. If you're importing all your food, it means you're supporting farmers around the world. But if you produce, then your farmers will be up and they will eat what you produce and jobs will be created. That's why you see many people in the schools of agriculture hanging around. These jobs can't come from government. They must come from private sector doing agriculture. All over the world, that's what happens. If you want government to manage the big farm, the bureaucracy itself will kill that farm. You try this everybody. Do not work. So now it's private sector driven with policy support. And it's developing agriculture, around the value chain. Now, we also have had recently the Terraco Fruit Juice Factory in Benue State. Just recently invested we visited during the National Food Governance Law, if you remember. We went to Terraco Food Processing Company in Benue. They have just invested an additional 1 billion naira, which is 6.2 million naira, to expand the factory so that they can take the fruits around Benue, Nasarawa, Taraba, a huge fruit processing zone. So they take all the oranges there, the guava, all the and process them into finished products, so that we stop some of the huge importation of concentrates from abroad. They can produce those concentrates here and they keep them to juice processing factories for domestic consumption, which means that more farmers are going to earn money. Because they have to place orders even at the beginning of the year, monthly, for products to come. So those investments are coming because of new policy. This was never, we didn't use the idea of seed companies before. It was taken for granted that the farmers would plant anything that came their way. So now, you can see investment in profit, investment in fertilizers, investment in seeds by private companies. If they do not develop, they will lose. So they must work hard. It's not like government that will bring in budget for you every year, whether you are researching or not. So now, private companies are voting 3.7 billion with government support to develop seeds for farmers. This is private sector investment, and this is being done directly to farmers. The federal government and states and farmers did cost sharing under the government enhancement scheme, and this has saved the federal government 25 billion or 156 million in 2012 in terms of what will have been factored into the losses we will get if we are using the capacity to send seeds to farmers. Bureaucracy will take its own, middlemen will take their own, and then farmers are losing end. So we have eliminated corruption, and indeed we have saved 25 billion that we would have lost, using middlemen and using government contracting bureaucracy to supply seeds and fertilizers to farmers. Now, agricultural development agenda strategy is a strengthening priority in the following value chains. So, as I said, we have categorized the country for specific crops. And what are these? In the northwest, we are promoting cotton, onion, tomatoes, and sorghum. But that zone is good for these crops. So, we are developing seeds specifically for them. So, the northeast states they are set aside to produce cotton, onion, tomato, and sorghum. Sorghum is also called guinea-corn in the local balance. So we believe that this crop will be produced. That's why we are supporting farmers with seeds, supporting them with fertilizers and specific farms. Now, North Central, that's the northwest sorry. North Central, we have maize and soybeans. We want to promote maize and soybeans in the North Central. And we are targeting and supplying seeds specifically to farmers in the zone. Now, the southwest, oil palm and cocoa. South-south, oil palm and cocoa. Northeast, cotton, onion, tomato, and so forth. Northeast and northwest have the same soil type, the same soil type, the same pattern of rainfall. So they are good for those crops. Now, the southeast is also oil palm and cocoa. Now, there are national crops that grow everywhere, which are also promoted. And these are rice, cassava, livestock, fisheries. These are priority crops across the whole country. Rice is a nation being promoted, growing in all the 6 geographical zones. Cassava, the same thing. I went to Borno and I saw cassava, I was amazed. I used to think that cassava was only something you grow maybe from North Central downwards because of rainfall. Like, a lot of cassava is come out of now, and it's really very interesting. So cassava has become a national crop. It's not only South Place or North Central, corn and the country. So livestock, the same thing, fisheries everywhere. All the zones have capacity to produce fish. Lake Chad region, most of the fish, eating dry fish in northern Nigeria come from Lake Chad. Kano also has a big capacity for fish production. So all of Kebbi produces so much fish. So much fish is produced in Kebbi. This country is rich in your belief. So these are being developed, all over the country. So those are national crops. Now, in terms of the cassava value chain, we have developed a value chain in cassava to add value and produce cassava flour, cassava chips, ethanol, starch, and sweeteners. Now, we have developed this value chain for cassava, and what is happening today is that we have secured funding and establishing cassava processing plant to give us these products. This is really happening. Private sector trade. And like the Minister of Agriculture kept assuring Nigerians, in the next couple of years, Nigeria will transit from being the world's largest cassava producer to the world's largest cassava processor of cassava products. That is what we want to achieve. And everything is on ground to achieve it. Everything is on ground to achieve it. That's how it should be. You can't be the world's largest producer of something and the other people process. Like I keep telling you, we took our agriculture of the Ricardian theory of comparative advantage. Europeans used to tell Africa in the last century that our own comparative advantage lies in producing raw materials, while they have the advantage in processing. But they do that value lies in processing. So they industrialize Africa and make Europe the centerpiece of production. Asia also used to be that. China, South Korea, Japan have improved the theory that this will be manufactured only in Europe. China today has moved away from being a producer of raw materials to be one of the world's leading industrial giants. India is also now moving away from that theory. Nigeria must move away. We must be a manufacturing nation. We cannot produce raw materials for other countries and remain poor. So this is what we're doing today under this administration. So cassava is giving us a lot now. As I go around, we see that we have secured funding, which is going directly to private sector people to set up cassava processing plants to make sure that cassava we produce in Nigeria is processed and we sell at higher value to any income for our country and for our families. Now we have also expanded the production of high quality cassava flour, which is now being used to combine to produce bread. This is being accepted all over, and the cassava bread has saved us more than 200 billion annually from food import. Just the reach of 20% has saved Nigeria type 200 billion that we have used to bring in imported goods. So that's the kind of thing. So that 200 billion, which should have gone abroad, is now going to cassava farmers. That's the implication. The 200 billion that we have been bringing wheat from abroad, that 200 billion still means that money now goes to supply of cassava, which is produced within Nigeria. So our farmers earn that money. Our cassava mills earn that money. So jobs are created, income increase, capacity of the economy increases. That is creative thinking and policy trial, to develop agriculture. Now we have also established the cassava bread fund. It was difficult for mills, flour mills of bread factories to accept cassava. So what we have done is establish the cassava flour fund, the cassava bread fund, which will produce both the cassava flour as well as help those who are using cassava to make bread. So this has given them the confidence, and the cassava bread is all over the town. It's all over the place. You see everywhere. And like I told you long ago, in the State House, the president has insisted that only cassava bread here will be served in the State House, and only rice that is processed in Nigeria will be eaten here. Whether you come from anywhere, you enter the State House, you must eat rice that is produced here in Nigeria. We have also secured a financing facility of $200 million for 18 private sector-owned large-scale cassava farming. So we have secured a loan of $200 million to establish 18 cassava flour mills in Nigeria. They are already taking off. It's not theory, it's something that's already going on. So they promise to make our country the largest processor of cassava products is on. It's going on. So we are backing up the value chain to sustain productivity in cassava. We have secured 3.2 million metric tons of contracts to supply cassava chips to China. I told you, the ministry of Nigeria is also talking about quotas. What is the market in India for us? What is the market for cassava in China? So far, we have secured 3.2 million metric tons of cassava supply annually to China. So if you're a cassava farmer, you know that apart from the domestic market, there is also the export market available to you. So there is no way that you will not sell your cassava. So productivity will go on and a lot of jobs will also be created. The federal government also has provided 30 million bonus of cassava cuttings free to farmers. You know, the seeds in cassava. Before we were planting anything, like I said, for planting seeds, you know, producing organic yields. No, you know, today we are doing so 30 million bonus have been distributed to farmers in all over the country. These are new seedlings that produce 4 to 5 times what the previous seeds that we are giving to farmers. So this we are doing, you know, across the world. We believe that Nigeria can earn between 800 and 2 million to about 1.37 million from dry chips export to China. We can earn between 8 million to over $1 billion annually by selling dry chips to China. So we are setting up a mission to produce the dry chips, and we are encouraging farmers to produce. We are giving support to farmers, giving support to commercial people, giving support to, you know, addition, and then we'll be exporting. So we have over $1 billion from cassava alone in the next couple of years. So this is open to us, and we are making use of it. In rice, Nigeria is the largest, you know, importer of rice in the world. In other words, the Vietnamese rice farmers, the Taiwanese rice farmers, the Canadian rice farmers are producing heavily at Nigeria. Can you imagine? They calculate that if we produce this rice, this is the quota that is going to Nigeria. Meanwhile, Nigeria has the best soil for rice production. The best soil, the best capacity. We can produce rice for the whole of Africa without anybody importing 1 grain of rice in this country. And yet, we are net importer of rice. This is the story that the president wants to end. And what are we doing here? We are saying this is unacceptable. We will not accept this at all. So we have immediately decided that by 2015, 2016, we should either end up completely rice import or we should be exporting if God guides us to implement the policies that are now on ground. For example, in the last year, because of new seeds, because of support, because of fertilizers, because of rice mills that were set up to take rice from farmers, we produced last year a total of 1,790 metric tons of rice in Nigeria. 1 million during the dry season, 1.1 billion metric tons, and 690 during the rainy season. But there is more production during dry season because you can control the weather elements. So last year, the beginning of our rice production take-off, we produced 690 metric tons during the rainy season, and during the dry season, we produced 1.1 billion metric tons of rice. Altogether, we produced 1,790 metric tons of rice last year. And this rice is being processed here in the country for our domestic consumption. And we are going to increase, every year. We have established 13 new rice mills in the country. 13 new rice mills are now processing rice in Nigeria. If you go to Benue, there is a private rice mill there. You know, we were in Kebbi. You saw the Lavana rice mill that was almost being completed. We wanted to the government, we were before it, and we saw everybody rice, which was already in production. So we are setting up 13 rice mills. The idea is that as farmers produce, buyers will be waiting on the farm to take rice to find. This will keep farmers perpetually producing. And what we want is to make sure that we stop rice importation altogether. Today, rice that is milled in Nigeria is more nutritious than the one that is coming from abroad. In fact, the one that comes from abroad is half chaff, half cooked, it's like roughage, you know, for animal meat. The real rice is the one that is now processed in abroad. To test the difference. I urge Nigerians to test the difference, and you will see that I'm telling them the truth. Now, we have also secured $1.2 billion fund from China Exim Bank for private sector-owned 100 large-scale land farms, rice farms. We have secured funding to establish 100 large rice farms, commercial farms in Nigeria. That loan is running, and I can tell you that we are also going to have large-scale processing plants, which will give us 3 million metric tons of rice per annum. So we're establishing 100 large farms, and also we're establishing rice processing plants. So Dominion Farms have invested $40 billion in Taraba, and they are cultivating 30,000 hectares of rice in Taraba right now. They started 2 years ago. They are already in production. Dominion Farms. Then we also have the dry season agriculture. The agricultural commission, dry season rice and commission supported 268,000 farmers on 264 hectares of land in the 10 other states last year. In addition to the commercial farmers, the small-scale farmers, we supported 268,000 of them across the 10 other states, and they cultivated 264,000 hectares of land of rice in the last dry season. So the dry season rice transformation, as I've already said, added over 1 million metric tons last year. Our dry season rice production, in the last season, we injected 77 billion naira into the economy through the production of dry season rice across the 10 other states. And this is additional earning for farmers across the 10 other states. So with agriculture, we can reduce the number of the level of poverty in the north. Agriculture is best suited for dealing with the question of poverty and the low living standards in the north. And what government is doing is to target the north really seriously to produce food, to increase the earning capacity of our farmers in the north, and to increase living standards, and to deal decisively the level of poverty in the northern states. So last year also we created 460,000 jobs during the dry season. When we went to Kebbi, how many of you were with us? We saw the youths in the rice farms in Kebbi, cutting across 12 local governments. That's why you don't have any Boko Haram in Kebbi. The youths are very busy producing rice. You understand? And the truth, you can take a look at what is happening in Kebbi. We saw people on the farm. The government is busy every day distributing funds to youths who are doing their farm. People are doing businesses, fish, everywhere. That's the difference. And the Kebbi company is networking very well with the federal government to ensure that they keep the youth busy. That's the point we're talking about. Look inwards to deal with the issue of poverty and violence. We will touch it later on about what is going on in the country. So in terms of sorghum, we want to make Nigeria the largest producer of sorghum and processor of sorghum. Because sorghum is a power, grain that is used for manufacturing malt, manufacturing beer, and all sorts of foods, that you can produce. So we have unleashed new economic opportunities for local farmers across the northwest and northeast. So what have we done in sorghum? We have new high-yielding sorghum hybrids, which have been released to Nigeria by Nigerian scientists. These have been developed by our own scientists. They are not developed by foreigners. Our research institutes have released new sorghum hybrids, which are being distributed to farmers in the northeast, northwest, and also north central also produces quite a lot of sorghum. We have so far 515 metric tons of new sorghum seeds have been distributed to 51,000 farmers, and we have planted them in 1,500 hectares across the northwest and northeast. So 515 metric tons of new sorghum seeds have been distributed, and they are cultivated in 1,500 hectares, across the northern states. Two sorghum hybrids have been released with a yield of about 4 to 5 metric tons per hectare, compared to the one that was being planted by farmers, which was 0.5 to 0.8 metric tons per hectare. The old seeds were producing 0.5. That is well managed to produce 0.5 metric tons per hectare. The new seeds of distributed to farmers will give us about 3.5 metric tons, from 0.5 to 3.5 metric tons per hectare of sorghum. We have 1,000 metric tons of certified seeds produced, already. 1,000 metric tons of certified seeds have been produced, and we are hoping that in 2013 we are planting 100,000 hectares of sorghum across the northern states. Now, Nigeria plans to build the largest high-energy food chain in Africa. If you go to any of our shops, you see high-energy food from Germany, from Europe, from Asia. Every day, that is what we drink. Whereas we have the capacity. So what we are doing is we are planning to establish ourselves as the largest producer of high-energy foods. No matter what we are getting, we want to use sorghum, maize, and soya beans. Sorghum, maize, soya beans to establish, food processing plant to make us the largest producer of high-energy foods. For fortified foods with protein, with vitamins, so that we don't have to import from Europe. So the federal government, meanwhile, has developed a strategic partnership with World Food Program and private sector people to produce high-energy foods in Nigeria. The private sectors who are coming in to produce high-energy foods are the following. We have Dangote Flour Mills and Foods Limited. We have Honeywell, Superfine Foods, Lab Care Ventures. Many in malls, they are coming. They are already established in Kano. They will take sorghum, they will take soya beans, and they will take maize, to grow high energy foods for consumption in Nigeria and for export. So we also have the Aba multi plants. There are a lot of those plants also in Aba. So together, we are already giving them the opportunity to test and produce for us. Now in cocoa, we have done the same thing. What we have achieved in cocoa, 420,000 of high-yielding cocoa seeds have been distributed, to farmers. We have also 13,000 hectares of hybrid new cocoa farms have been established. 2,500 hydrocarbon-free jute bags are also being produced and distributed to farmers. Cocoa needs special bags to be stored. That are also doing. And we have also supplied 4,000 boxes to new cocoa farms. And altogether, we have 50,544 farmers who have benefited from our program to increase cocoa production. In oil palm, we are doing the same thing, the southeast, southwest, and south-south. We have replaced the importation of 30,000 metric tons of vegetables which usually costs us about $500 million every year. We're not doing that in oil palm and other renewable producing in Nigeria. So no longer importing them. So that money will be going to our farmers. Now the achievements. 1.34 billion sprouted seedlings provided to 18 oil palm estates in the last year. 1.34 billion sprouted oil seedlings. Oil palm seedlings have been distributed to farmers in this season. A total of 9 million sprouted seedlings were also distributed this year. In the first year, we had 1.34 million. This year, 2013, we distributed 9 million sprouted seedlings to farmers. So we're expecting that in the next few years, a lot of oil palm product will come from Nigeria, and we'll stop bringing oil palm from Malaysia, which is a shame that they took seedlings from us and we're importing palm oil from there. That is going to end by the grace of God. So we also have increased private sector investment, in that area. So cotton, we are also developing a cotton value chain. So a lot of resources are going into it. I don't want to bore you by giving you, we have them in brief. I'll distribute them to you. But in terms of cotton, we have distributed 1,506 tons of cotton, new cotton seeds. Those 75,319 hectares of cotton planted. By 6,000 farmers. We have distributed to them, we have measured their farms, we have sent these seeds directly to them, and they are already doing a lot in that area. So the seeds that we have distributed so far are valued at $234 million. Distributed 40 seeds to farmers across the northern states. So we have already revived 9 of the 17 functional private gineries have been found in the north through credit supply above. So they have benefited from the new agricultural lending policy of government. So we had 17 gineries which were 5 being functioning. Now we have revived 9 so that they, as we produce cotton, the gineries do their work. And this is what we are doing across the northern states. When we went to Zamfara, we visited some of those gineries with you, and they are already working, and we are giving them a lot of support. So what we want is for us not only to revive our textile, but also export cotton. Export processed cotton, and then also make sure that we are producing our own clothes here. This is very, very important for us. So more funds are going to farmers now. I can tell you that in the last year, commercial banks lent 4% of their loans to farmers because of the new policy of sharing risk insurance with the central bank and the Ministry of Agriculture. So before last year, agriculture was getting 1.5% in terms of lending by commercial banks. Now, as of last year, it has gone up to 4% because government is absorbing part of the shock from commercial banks by lending to them at preferred rates, and then the lending agricultural businessmen also at preferred rates. That is already going on. So we have a lot of the progress report, in agriculture is something that is very, very encouraging, for Nigeria. And I would like to say this. What we aim to achieve in agriculture in the next couple of years is to make sure that we grow jobs. The target of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the federal government is to add between 3 and 5 million jobs in agriculture. In the first term of this administration, we will achieve that, and a lot of people, if you look at all the investment, these people never used to come to Nigeria. Didn't have the confidence. It's changing. So we brought a lot of jobs in agriculture, processing, marketing, exports, a lot of things. You can see companies. So we are going to do that. That's one of our targets. Other target is to make sure that we promote industrialization through agriculture. And like if you look at all the factories that are taking place, the farm, rice processing, cassava processing, vegetable processing, cocoa processing, we are going to achieve the target of private sector driven industrialization using our own agricultural products, across the value chain. And then we also hope in this period to increase earning for the economy, to shift away from oil. You remember the last time I reported on the economy, where our oil now has come down, oil and gas, in terms of GDP, in terms of annual earning, has come down from 91% to 39%. So agriculture is not driving earning, driving income, driving GDP growth. Agriculture. So we want to bring it down and down until oil and gas will no longer become the main earner. Not because we are not going to earn money from oil. It's not sufficient. It is not sufficient. We're a big country. We're a growing country. So we're targeting agriculture. And I can tell you that in the last 3 years, agriculture has been growing over 20% in terms of GDP contribution. But when you now bring everything together, we're talking about 7% growth. Much of that growth is coming from agriculture. A lot of it is coming from agriculture. So I would say that presently, what the president is achieving in agriculture is unique, and it is working. We're growing more food than ever before. We are almost going to exceed rice and the rest of whatever. What we have also done, don't forget, is to increase tariff on certain foods so that we can produce them at home. If you look at rice, over 100% import duty for rice increase. So today, it is more difficult to import rice. Why do you notice that some smugglers, some unpatriotic Nigerians, because of the high duty, they evade the ports and try to smuggle rice through different routes. We are also studying that to know what to do to tackle them. The idea of high tariff is to make sure that we grow the food so that imported rice will be more costly than the rice produced in Nigeria. And that will compel our people to eat what we produce. So we use tariffs also to promote local production. That is a combination of factors. So I will summarize by saying that agriculture today is on the rise in our country. It is on the rise because what the president has done on the transformation agenda is to bring together the best brains that we can get to drive policy. And because of policy change, we are now confidently wooing investors all over the world to come to Nigeria to promote agricultural development. And the policy of the president in agriculture, like I said, is to support farmers to earn more money, but also to process what we produce at home. Even if we export, we don't want to export raw materials. We want to export value-added products out of the country. And this is already working. So we appeal to Nigerian, young Nigerian farmers. You know that we have also established a new agricultural entrepreneurs program, which government is funding directly to help young farmers, young entrepreneurs to go into agriculture. There is also a special fund managed by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Agriculture to promote young farmers. We noticed that because of the way agriculture was treated in the past, most young people are running from the villages. We think that the money is in blue-collar jobs. We pray that in another 3-4 years, people will be producing and in agriculture. Young people need to buy this and have interest in establishing a processing plant, establishing a marketing company to do with agriculture. Also, opening up their farms, poultry farms, all those will come up and already coming up. If you look at the WIC program, many people have established poultries, some have established style making plant, and there are already some people are generating jobs all over the country. So I want to say that yes, 3 years is not sufficient for a government to change a failed sector that has developed problems over 30 years. And that's the problem we have in this country. You inherit, this president inherited an agricultural sector that was totally down. It was only known for fertilizer scams. It was not known for agricultural productivity, creativity, policy, and initiative. Today, this president has quietly sat down to change the story of agriculture. And this story is not only changing agriculture, it is changing in oil and gas. The day I will present oil and gas to you, we'll be sure when we presented our policy on oil and gas, what was achieved, the honorary investment council in London. This, the story is changing. The story has changed in cement production. We have become an exporter of cement under this period because of the opportunities and the support we are given. We now have the largest cement factory in the world operating in Pakistan, rather than in Asia or Europe. It's here in Nigeria. The story is changing, in different sectors. So what we pray for is that we will stop heating up the economy, heating up the story. What we report to the world is negative. I can tell you confidently, I've been in this government for the period of the President Government War. I can tell you confidently, as a minister of information, that in terms of what this government is doing on ground, we have not seen it in the last 50 years. And I'm challenging everybody to stand up and debate on it nationally, whether you are talking of transport, whether you are talking of growth in the economy and policies, whether you are talking of investment drive, whether you are talking of agriculture, whether you are talking of manufacturing. We have not seen it. And this is happening at the same time that some Nigerians are disturbing the peace of the country through violence. We have achieved this in spite of Boko Haram violence, in spite of crisis generated deliberately to destabilize the country. Yet the president has been, if for example, he starts working without a distraction, if you look at the money that is going into Boko Haram induced violence, if you take that money and give farmers, for example, take that money every month, give rice farmers, give cotton farmers, give cassava farmers, give people to set up factories. This country would have grown at about 10% in the last 2 years if this violence was not imposed on this president and on this country. But these are the facts. The people who open newspapers, people are telling lies, people are, bitter, insulting the president on a daily basis. Especially if you open papers that are abusing directly because of bitterness. Look, the truth of the matter is that this country has changed. And nobody can roll back that work of change. A younger generation of people who are using their brain to rule Nigeria have come. And I think we will need to give them encouragement rather than these policies of region and religion, which is creating so much violence and unnecessary destruction from Nigeria. So we believe that younger people who have come on board, reading between the lines, go back and assess the progress that has been made in 3 years. In 3 years, we're not talking about 5 years or 6 years or 7 years or even 10 years. So leaders must be assessed for what they do and its patience. China has moved today because after Deng Xiaoping began the reform in 1978, there has been consistent policy implementation and its patience. You don't live overnight from the situation that Nigeria found itself at the beginning of this country. But I think that the things we're doing in this country today, if we continue with that, maybe the next 3-4 governments coming, there is no way this country will not overtake several other countries in this country and become the best in the African economy. So we're doing a lot of work, and agriculture for us is key. And we're praying that our farmers, our young people, will take on to agriculture, take advantage of the various policies that are going on in agriculture to grow food. Now, I will not want to conclude this briefing without saying something about the housing in education. As I said, the president is a teacher. It's not a stranger to education. I am a great teacher. I'm not a stranger to the need to invest money in education. So it's not a thing, it's not a partisan thing. It is about how we can bring our children back to school. And while addressing those problems, you will be very educational to governance. Where did we go in any higher institution in this country that you did not see new projects? Not 10, not 20, in any university going on because of our investments. So we're doing a lot. We agree that the problems have multiplied over a period of time. The problems in education have accumulated and they must be addressed. But we need time to address them. And we need to be reasonable in making our demands. We cannot use strike as the only solution to any problem. If every sector closes down, when their problems are solved, we will no longer go to work. Federal government. we will no longer go to work. Then why do we have the control of chaos? So what do we do? We have 45 billion on ground for payment of allowances, 200 billion for infrastructure. So why are we closing the schools? Why do they need to achieve what? And then politicians who say they want to give us an alternative will come and we blame politics with an issue that is us. We are not anti-us. We are not. We have promoted human liberty. This president in 2010 increased salaries across board 53.4%. It has never been done since Odoji in the 70s. Where any government in Nigeria increased salaries 54.3%. In one first school. Today we are still grappling with the accumulated cost of that strike. We are still grappling with it because the budget deficit run directly to the increase in salaries in 2010. We are still grappling with the budget deficit that has arisen because of the 54% increase in salaries of all public servants across the board. We did it in 2010. We are still grappling with it. And then we also started a new minimum wage with the president passing the law. So this government is not anti-workers. If anything, we have been far more pro-workers than any government in this country. So we can't just shut down our universities and play politics. So my advice to the APDPC is that we should bring new policy formulation and debate them. We should not be hanging at the old days of every disagreement to create confusion in the country. So for me, I believe very strictly that we need to move forward. And I'm appealing, I'm still appealing to us to have sympathy for students. Have sympathy for our students. They are our children. Have sympathy for them. Because this is killing education at that level. It's destroying the university system. And we must change method. Can use the same method for everyone. Strike is not a principle. Strike is a tactic, in the course of negotiation. It's not a principle. Strike has never been used by any union as a principle. We must block strike. People stop strike and it's against our principle. No, it's a tactic. It's a strategy. So the strike is not supposed to replace the principle. No. So I think that this tactic has overwhelmed. We need to change it. We need to recall our children back to school. And do so because we have placed all the things we can do within it. Look, I can't see even those who are charged that will tolerate what this president is doing. We know what happened in Nigeria. Everybody knows how many people are sacked in the public working system. So we should not. We know everybody in this country and we know the personalities that are dancing naked, at the stage. And I think honestly, we need to open our universities. This is the opinion of Nigerians. This is what I see everybody talk everywhere, that this strike has admitted its usefulness. Because the key issues related to this strike have been addressed. So I feel my lecturers at least use the sacrifice of WDI to open the universities. And government will live to its promises, to have pledged to our promises, and will live by it. That is what we will do. So please we pray that this strike should end. And they should not listen to politicians who want to exploit the strike for their own election in 2015. They are not doing so for university. They are not talking about the strike because they like lecturers, or they like the university, or they like ASU. They will wish that ASU continue the strike until 2015 so that they can win the presidency. That is what they want. That is too selfish.
I think as the minister catches his breath, the best tonic you can give him is another round of applause. And I must confess that time is fast spent. Today is a Friday, and we have to be sensitive to our Muslim brothers and sisters. And for this reason, we're going to be on the super fast highway to quickly conclude and enable them to go and also worship the Almighty. While the minister was speaking, our team of experts on new media and social media were at work, collecting the views of Nigerians in diaspora and within the country. And I'm going to quickly read out some from Facebook. Shade Okwemi asked, what yardstick does the government use to distribute silos in states? Most states don't have them. Chukwu Okafor sent in this question. Why can't the progress made in agriculture be replicated in other sectors? Fumi Olashekong question is, our problem is continuity of policies. How will this be resolved with regards to the current agricultural efforts? From Justisa Ume, also on Facebook, she says, the high tariff on imported rice is affecting the price of the commodity in the country, which skyrocketed because local producers cannot meet domestic demands. What is the government doing to cushion the effect of high price of rice? On Twitter, we have from Ruth Kufeji. She's asking, how can farmers access loans? BK Asemota says, the Honorable Minister of Information has not told us the efforts made to make agriculture seeds available to people in the rural areas. Please let him explain. From Okwe Idowu, we have this question to the Minister. When will the National Good Governance Tour continue? And we have a few more questions real quickly. This one is from Kristen Chika. Thank you for your clear explanation. Why is the federal government not providing us with palm oil processing plants at Nsukka zone of Enugu State? This part of the country is among the top producers of palm oil in Nigeria. From Comrade Jude, he's not asking about ASU. He says, for the past 6 months, I have registered for federal government agri loan and fertilizer. Since then, no information. Why is this so difficult? Anambra sent in one from Nonsoro, and he says, good day, Honorable Minister. Why is the Nigerian youth policy always being emphasized more on paper than in practical terms? Why is the Nigerian youth policy, always being emphasized more on paper than in practical terms, of which you know that 65% of this country's population are youth? What are your plans in providing better jobs for these youths? And Chigos here also from Anambra says, good day, sir. I want to know the status of those that graduated from National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN. Because since we left the institute in November, nothing has been said about us. And from the News Agency of Nigeria, Jude is asking, what is government doing to address the constant clashes between herdsmen and native farmers, which is directly affecting improved agricultural productivity across the country? What is government doing about the constant clashes between herdsmen and native farmers? And I guess that's all we have for now. Like I said, we are pressed for time, and we must round up quickly. Now, if there are any media personnel here who have questions, please would like you to come up quickly and then ask them. Just come up quickly and line up, please.
Well, all our graduates, both from colleges of agriculture, polytechnics, colleges of education, and those who have read the agri sciences, call this category of people. There are also experts that have been forgotten. And lastly, we talked about the rural. The rural urban migration has been on the increase. This is because no practical steps are being taken to make our rural areas what the youth will want to stay. And so when they come to the urban areas, they are misplaced.
Thank you very much. Next, please. Your name, your organization, and your race. Please, straight to the point.
My name is Imabri Tuko, along at level for 104.5 FM, Cloud Radio. My question is, Honorable Minister, what do you think is the connection between this strike, the ASU strike, and the APC? And what do you think the APC is deriving from the strike? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Honorable Minister, thank you for a fantastic presentation. I just want to ask, we've been talking about the lecturer in the College of Technology who converted a fuel using car to electric car. I'm talking about this because we have to check pollution, the rate of pollution, because the time.
Thank you very much. Finally,
my name is Abubakar Yusuf. I'm a media and communication consultant. Honorable Minister, sir, we talk about cassava bread. And before now, we are used to wheat bread. I remember when we were in school then, around 91, there was accelerated wheat production program by Babangida administration. Don't you think it is good for us to use side by side cassava bread? Because me, I'm not eating cassava bread all this while. I've been eating wheat bread, and I remember those days during the accelerated wheat production program. My uncle I was staying with were using wheat to produce so many things. So don't you think it's good for us to still bring on board the accelerated wheat production program?
Thank you very much.
Secondly, Honorable Minister, please. Don't you think I'm still asking, I still want the government to invite us for the last time, because the president had a commitment. The president was the one that signed the agreement in 2009. So there is an implication in that agreement. I feel the president should still invite them. Finally, let me digress on the minister. Are you going to contest for 2015 governorship election in Nasarawa State?
Okay. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media. And you have asked your questions now. Let us have the opportunity and the platform to respond. May I now once again re-invite the Honorable Minister of Information and the Supervising Minister of Defense to answer the questions you have thrown at him, as well as the ones you have collated from the social media. Honorable Minister, sir.
Sit down there.
First, let me thank you for the high interest shown in the questions that were asked. This reflects the standard of the journalism. People really are interested and very positive, knowledgeable. They want to see progress. Even more interested in the questions of the social media. Look at the way that questions came from all over the country. I'm very excited that this series is becoming also another opportunity for a national conversation, one thing, the progress we are making sector by sector. And so I'm very, very happy with the high interest of participation. First, for the silos, they can't possibly be everywhere, but they are well located at different distances depending on the expected food production in those regions. So the silos they are almost in every state, but definitely we can't just put them. You have contiguous states and free silos in a particular area that can protect the crop in that area. We wouldn't just, before we start doing another federal character thing, there will be silos in every state, otherwise we must for crops. That is like we say that how in the past, giving progress. So they are located at food production centers to make sure that set particular crops for food and produce a proper storage system. So we are not doing them on a political basis. every local government must have the silos for every state. But definitely the silos that are being built are sufficient in terms of taking all the crops that are produced in the areas they are located. Why is the progress in agriculture not in other sectors? Maybe you have not been listening to me in the previous edition. It's not that question scheduled because the person was not listening. Today we are focused on agriculture. That's why you're listening directly what has happened in the agricultural sector. But in terms of progress in other sectors, even in the course of this presentation, I continue to throw some highlights for what is happening. There is progress in every sector of the economy. I can tell you today that in transport, there is a lot of progress. And we'll take transport one day. And then you look at transport, the railways that we are restoring with the new ports for the road. The one day, I've just finished, finally completed the phase 4 of one day expansion to the hub. And only on Wednesday, we have awarded a 1.3 billion PPP project for the development of the first deep sea port in West Africa, which will be located at Lekki in Lagos. Again, that's huge investment coming from the private sector, from federal government, Lagos state government, working together. So if you look at the progress in the transport sector, a lot of things are happening. I want to take you back to manufacturing. I told you a lot of jobs, oil and gas, so much is going on. The oil and gas processing hub being established, a network of factories to employ almost 200,000 people at the construction which has started already. So in the next couple of years, a lot will be happening, not just producing oil and gas food form, but processing at high value for domestic consumption and export. A lot of things are going on in that sector. In the investment sector, so much is coming on in that sector as well. So everywhere in the economy, progress is coming, progress is going on. That's why the economy is growing at 7%. So I want to assure you that as we go in sports, for example, I don't want to say it. If you look at what has happened. Last time the Minister of Sports said, and I want to quote you, that President Jonathan is the most successful president in the sporting history of Nigeria. Now, one day I'm going to take sports and give you blow by blow of what is happening. And somebody was talking about youth development. I think collectively, all the things we are doing are for the youth. You are not going to have one simple strong policy for youth. If you are doing agriculture, it's for the youth. If you are doing the transportation, it's for the youth. If you are investing in education, it's for the youth. What we are doing in all the theaters, sports, youth development, in fact, our youth are getting more confidence. Look at our faith, look at our mercy, look at our sports. You see that the youth have an added confidence under the Jonathan transformation agenda. And we're winning everywhere we go, we are winning. So it tells you that our policy on youth, you don't just give one policy. Look at what the government is doing and the confidence it is giving to you to express themselves. In the industry, in education, in sports, everywhere. So the youth are winning. I can assure you that everything we're doing is for younger people. So I tell you, our halfway through is for you to come and inherit and rise to the occasion and build a new society for yourselves. High tariff is promoting inflation. High tariff on rice is promoting inflation on other commodities. I haven't seen it. That is a statement that needs to be proven scientifically. Because what we have noticed, even now, is that inflation is coming down. Inflation has moved from about 12% when Jonathan came to power to about 8.9% now. Inflation is now single digit. We came to power, it was over 12%. In the last 3 years of his leadership, inflation has come down to about 8.9%. We are trying to drive inflation right down to under 5% so that the cost of capital in the country can come down. If you go around the world, give commercial banks give loans at 2%, 3%, never below 5%. The reason why these loans are still high, apart from other factors, is that our inflation rate is high. So as inflation comes down, once we achieve the low rate of inflation of between maybe 3 and 5%, I can tell you that lending in our commercial banks to come down, to promote lending to economic activity, to production, rather than performance and speculation. So inflation is coming down. This is a contradiction to say it's going up. The evidence we have is contrary to your own oracular proclamation. We have farmers access to several places. You go to agricultural development bank, you go to commercial banks. Now the commercial banks are being supported, through the new risk sharing agricultural lending policy of the central bank. So we have made sure that banks can lend at lower rate to farmers. But the point is, every farmer will not just go and take a loan. You need also something to show. At least a CO2 on the farm, and one of the things that things go back, at least we'll also be able to do something. So it's not because we have done this and everybody can just go and start at the end and take a loan. Must fulfill other conditions. But there is a lot of money in the country for farmers. They can access them. And if you have need for more details, you can meet us outside this place. I can also link you to Ministry of Agriculture so you can have more details in terms of the steps you need to take. We have when we mention good governance will continue tomorrow. We are going to Kaduna tomorrow. The talk will be in Kaduna State tomorrow till about Tuesday. So we are going to talk different projects, a lot of projects. I'm not sure we can really exhaust them in 4 days, but that is the time available to us. So please follow up on that and we are based what we have done. For example, the railway, the new rail line was going to be 70% covered, completed. The standard rail line between Kaduna and Abuja is going on steadily. We are hoping that towards the end of this administration or thereabout, we'll be coming from Kaduna to Abuja by train every morning. And that will take less than 1 hour 5 minutes. We have why are herdsmen fighting with farmers? What are we doing about it? A lot of the policies of the 60s have been interrupted. Again, lack of consistency in administration and policy is always a problem. You find that in the 60s there were grazing routes, for grazers to pass. In many of the states today, some of those grazing routes have been taken over and it's making it either by settlements or even towns. And it makes it difficult for grazers to pass and it creates conflict between them and farmers. We need grazers, we need farmers, all of them are producing for Nigeria. The grazers are producing so much meat for this country. And so there have been a lot of jobs producing protein for Nigeria. So they are needed as much as farmers that are producing the stable food for us to eat. In fact, all of them want to be working together. And if they work closely,